And so I bit my tongue. I bid my time. Once I realized I was going to India, I knew 6 months beforehand what my project was going to be. I was going to be working on a community center project, and that project had 3 main activities. The first was collecting some information about the community itself, and the second and third activities really revolved around building the community center and launching all of the community center activities. I went to India knowing that this one project was the one thing that I knew was going to be, for sure the thing that wouldn't change. However, when I got to India and to the host NGO, they told us, myself and the other volunteer who was working with me on this project, that they had decided to kind of pause the project and to find alternate funding for the community center. And it really threw me for a loop and frustrated me, to be quite honest. I thought that I could maybe convince them that we could continue on with the project because I didn't see why it needed to stop. However, before I could convince the nonprofit founders of my argument, one of the first things he said to us was, before you give us any recommendations, please keep them to yourselves for 6 months. We really want you, 3 to 6 months. We really want you to get to know us, to get to know our organization, and really to get to know the community that we serve. And so I bit my tongue. I bid my time, really. So I really focused on that first task, which was to get to know the community. So I spent what was initially supposed to be just an activity that was going to last 2 months. I spent almost the full year getting to know this community that was going to be served by the community center. I spent a lot of time having cups of chai and talking to community members and listening to them about what their lives were like and the challenges that they faced. It was in those moments and in those experiences that allowed me to really be an advocate for their needs. I think what I realized at the end of the year was that while I didn't have the tangible activities of having a community center built, building the relationships with the community was so important for the nonprofit, and that was really reflected then in the proposal that we were able to pull together. And later down the road, we were able to get funding for the community center. 15 years later, that community center is really a stellar example of how a community and a nonprofit can work together to build a space to meet a community's needs. I don't know that I would have been terribly excited about it, but at the end of the year, that's probably the thing that I'm the proudest of, because it was so powerful to spend that much time with them, because I learned so much about them, but I learned a lot about myself too.